Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here. Today, I just wanted to dive into an important topic that really affects every household, and it's finding a way to have that family meeting about money. Not having to be awkward, not having to drag everybody, lasso them, drag them over there to have the conversation. Not anybody feeling like they're being attacked for any decision or purchase that they made. So that, it's a good, happy, time together to move everyone forward in the same direction. And the truth is, whether you're a couple, maybe you're just moving in together, maybe you just got married, or you're empty nesters now, it's just you two there. Or maybe you're a young family. How do you have these conversations with your kids? Or even when the kids are a bit older, now they're teenagers and you got to prepare them for the next phase of their life. How do you have these conversations to get them prepared and get them set up for where they need to go? Because truth is, at each of these stages, having these conversations are crucial for really setting the financial goals and making sure that everyone's on the same page. If you're making decisions as a family financially, you got to make sure everyone's on the same page. And even though one person may be making most of the financial decisions, one person might be handling most of these questions, this area of your family, having both people on the same page allows everyone to know that, hey, where they're going, what direction they're going, and that everyone is in agreement and you're good to go in that and push forward in that direction. Because see, we all know this, we've all had these conversations in the past, or we've tried to have these conversations in the past, and talking about money can be awkward or tense. But the truth is, having these conversations and doing them correctly, it really can bring your family closer together. So what I want to do is I want to kind of give you guys each of those three segments: couples, young kids, teenagers, and just a couple ideas. Hey, how to approach the conversation, what kind of details should you be getting into, and a couple little helpful tips throughout that process as well. So kind of the first one I wanted to talk about were couples. So really just building a financial partnership is what you're looking at. When you're in a committed relationship, you really want to make sure you're aligned financially. And that doesn't mean you talk about every single little thing. However, having that alignment makes it clear. I know for me and my wife, as we didn't do this in the beginning, we kind of had some ideas. We talked a little bit about it. But we didn't really have any guidance when we first got together, that we just kind of, made a lot of mistakes. And what I thought was important financially, or purchases we should be making, my wife thought they were something different. And so there was some discussions that we had with purpose based on those differences. But you see, being aligned, being aligned is especially true if you're planning big life events. If you're looking to buy a house, if you're looking to start your family, or like I said, empty nesters, you're looking for retirement, having that conversation can make a big difference in making sure that you guys are moving in the same direction and you're both good with where you're going. So a part of it is really just how to approach the conversation. You want to choose the right time. You don't want to spring the conversation on your partner in the middle of a stressful day. Maybe you had a lot going on. You've been thinking about it for the last 4 or 5 days, and you're like, today's the day I'm going to talk about it. And you don't want to just kind of jump somebody and spring it on them there. Set time aside when both of you can focus and you can both approach the topic calmly. Maybe you've written down certain things. For me and Alyssa, I know I'd like to kind of have different topics, or have an idea of when we come into, hey, what's kind of the next 3 months? What's the next year? What's the next 5-6 years? Where we want to see ourselves? We kind of start with that basis. So we kind of know where we're working from, and we've got time to put that together. And I think it's important to be transparent. Both people should be able to come to the table with honesty. You can talk about your income, debt, spending habits, your long-term goals, short-term goals. Remember, it isn't about judgment. It's about building that financial plan together, because there's certain things that I found that were really important that I wanted to do. And, Alyssa would talk about those things, what was important to her, and we made changes. Like, okay, well, maybe there's certain purchases I'm not going to make. I may not be able to buy that, new amp or guitars, or Get that road bike, updated road bike, or those kinds of things, because we got these other purchases that we want to make, and that they're both things that we want to accomplish. It's not that you have to give up everything you want in order to accommodate the other person, but it's finding that balance and finding, hey, what works for both of us and where can we go. So some of the details, or kind of the depth of details you want to go, is I think a big part of it is discussing budgeting. So reviewing your monthly expenses, your income, any areas where you can save money. Maybe there's certain areas that we talked about this last time about different, or a little while back, about different budgeting stuff. But I think a part of it is creating a joint budget. That makes a lot of sense, and in a lot of cases, I know sometimes a lot of people they keep their finances separate, which you can totally do that. There's no problem in doing that. However, creating a joint budget basically just means who's going to be taking care of which things. Who's going to be taking care of the mortgage? Who's going to be taking care of the electric? Who's going to be taking care of groceries? Who's going to be taking care of these things? And you can work that in with the budget. That's a big piece of that. And through that process, again, creating those budgets, having that conversation, setting aside or set aside time and make sure you guys start talking about, hey, what are your short-term and long-term goals? Discussing goals of whatever it is, certain vacations you want to have, upgrading vehicles, buying a house, retiring, kids education, having to take care of parents, these different short-term and long-term goals that you may have. You want to talk about them, kind of start figuring out timelines on that, and just make sure that you're aligned on your priorities. And then it's just, again, like I mentioned just a minute ago, assigning responsibilities. Decide who's going to handle what, which bills are going to be paying, who's going to be tracking investments, who's going to have put away stuff, saving contributions, who's going to make sure all that stuff is taken care of, doing the taxes, all that. Because having clear responsibilities avoids confusions down the road. I like to say conflicts arise when expectations differ. If you think you're supposed to be handling something and the other person handles it, or you both think the other person is supposed to handle something, that's when discussions with purpose can happen, because you're not clear on what you want to get done. One way, if you're listening to this and you're just kind of like, how do I start this conversation with someone? I don't want to just say, hey, this Saturday night, instead of going out, we're talking money. That might not be the right way of handling it, or setting that. Be like, well, I don't know how to start the conversation. Well, one thing that I find works really well is I'd say something along the lines of like, hey, I'd love for us to sit down, talk about our financial goals. It's important for me that we're working together for the same goals and we're on the same team getting this. Something like that, because that way there doesn't seem like, hey, I want to make sure I want to audit what you're spending money on. I want to audit how you're handling finances. I want to make sure you're listening to me. It's not that kind of a conversation. It's really much more of a conversation of, hey, knowing where our money's going is important to me. I want to make sure we're on the same team. We're working towards the same goal so we can accomplish it faster. I just want to get some clarity on that kind of stuff. So we're working together. So teamwork, coming together, working together. So hopefully that helps for all the couples out there, in the world.